little bit conscious about all this stuff, but I promise you this only happens once in 4 weeks, right? So now let's get into the core of the things. So we did a 4-week cycle already. So we started 4 weeks ago, and we do a 1 hour session every Sunday to cover like the big parts, which I think are distinct parts of the overall curriculum of Unbox. And what we did was also that have a week, a daily session of a half an hour as a support group of folks who actually wanted to continue at a daily basis and had question and answer. So I was so happy that we had a really good group going through the 4 weeks at the daily basis. And then I was also very encouraged to see the type of feedbacks and differences they have found in their daily lives, right? So we completed that cycle, and now we are going to start with this new cycle. Some of this content for the folks who have already been a part of the daily cohort, right? It will be new. It will be the same. It won't be new. So, but they will bring in some sort of a deeper understanding and questions. So I really encourage you that once you go through this content, and if you have any deeper insights, please share it with the team here, right? So for today, what I was thinking was, so the course that we took the team through last 4 weeks, right, is an adapted version of the content that we do for kids. So we actually, our content is mostly tailored for kids from 7 to 17. But what we did was, for this particular cycle, we actually changed that course for the parents or mentors or guardians of the of the kids, so that they can relate to it also. But I was thinking that today I will start off with presenting exactly the same course that we present to kids, right? So that will give the parents and the adults here an idea of what is how the kids are relating to this, and I'll use a content that we did in conjunction with a company called Moonshot, which is a global company, Silicon Valley based. So we did workshops for like kids across 5 continents, and this is one of the highest rated content they offer. And we got like fabulous feedback from kids, like 8-year-old kids. So the reason I'm saying this is that the content will be like a little bit of a kid friendly, right? And let's go through this, and then what we'll do is that the idea here is that the adult should be able to not only relate to this content, understand what the kids understand, but go at least a level deeper, right? So that they can answer questions if their kids actually ask them, right? So that is the format that we're going to follow for this particular cycle. So, and I'll just get started now. Can you see my screen? Purnima or Anisha, can you just say if you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Great. So we'll get started. What do you mean by reclaim your attention, right? So has anybody felt this can relate to this situation where you go to a room and you don't remember why did you come to that room, right? It happens to me many times. At least it used to happen. So I'm in a room and I say, why did I come in this room, right? And then of course I recall it. Like that is one type. Or when I'm in vacation, I'm thinking about my work. Or the other way around, when I'm trying to do my work, I'm thinking about vacation. Or I'm lying down late in the night thinking about all the problems that I will solve as soon as I get up, right? Including the world hunger, right? So this type of, so to say, the situations I think everyone can relate to. And the reason behind these experiences is our mental chatter, right? And that's what we call as, we have to, that mental chatter has made our attention fragmented. And what we want to do through this workshop is reclaim our attention. And And some of the alarming facts, right? So an average person turns to their phones more than 50 times a day, and much higher for kids, right? It's a Deloitte research, right? It is, and obviously we know intuitively know that the number should be much more than this, right? And our attention span is 4 to 8 seconds. That is also based on a Microsoft research. So our attention span is probably as short as that of a squirrel, right? That is again quite alarming. So we'll start off with a YouTube video to show how the distractions cause problem, specifically for the kids. Can you see the video?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I can't see it yet. Yes, we can see it.
What happened to the sound?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, so sorry, but I think there is another video that is playing after this.
In MindGym sessions for
Try to stop it. Sorry. You can still see my screen, right?
No, we can't see your screen. We see you right now.
Okay.
Are you trying to share?
Yes. Okay. So, it was very interesting. And before I go to that one, right? So this particular video, each and every kid we have ever presented this, right? So they can definitely relate to it. And I think the parents can relate to it even more than the kids for this. The key thing is that we said that, okay, nobody taught us how to reclaim our attention. So how about we start on that path? How about we start off with finding out what attention really means, right? So this is a very interesting fact. And this is from the brain cognitive research. It says that a person's capacity is to process about 126 bits per second. So when I talk to kids, I say points. Think about it that you can, when you say pay attention, you can pay 126 points of attention, right? And it takes about 60 points to listen to just one person. So that's the reason you'll find out that when you try to follow two conversations at the same time, you can barely make it. You can understand two people talking to you if you have two kids. Then the third person starts talking, then you cannot follow at all. So if your spouse also starts speaking, then you actually get mad if the two kids are also already speaking to you, right? So this is an example. So 60, if it takes 60 bits for a conversation, you have 126 bits. So when you're actually fully focused, you can utilize the 126 bits in doing something that you want to do. But what happens is that there will be distractions caused by mental chatter and others that will claim their part of this 126. So what will remain with you is much lesser than this, right? So now let's do a quick test. And what I will do is, we'll do a quick test of the attention, right? And so that we can experientially see what attention is and do a quick assessment of our current state of attention. So you can see me? Everyone can see me? Yes? So can you just put your hands in front of you, right? So that you can see the back. Just take it and so that you can see the back of your palms, right? And just notice very clearly that the back of the fingers, the knots there of the joints, the texture of your skin, your nails, right? I think you should be able to do it quite easily, right? It shouldn't be, you'll be able to hear my voice and do this quite easily, comfortably. Now what I want to do is that you take the hands slowly back, keep on looking in front, but keep both the hands in your peripheral vision. Take it back enough till you can still see both of them in your peripheral vision and stop there. Now I'll ask you to put your attention on top of your head also. And now on both of your toes. So you should be able to pay attention to the hands, top of your head, toes at the same time. Just hold this for 5 seconds. Okay. So typically what we do is after this, we open it up for the kids to ask about the experience, and I'll share the general way it goes. That kids find it very difficult, that they would find it very easy to look at the back of their hands, but they find it difficult. Some of the kids say, I cannot even do it. I cannot even have attention on the floor. What do you mean? So adults, I see very few adults actually struggle to do that, but they have to put a lot of effort to do that. And then there are adults who can do it very effortlessly. So the idea is a self-test for you to see that what part of that 127 points do you have control on. If you can do this effortlessly, that means you already have built up the muscles to resist chatter. Because what happens is when you try to do this, then you have to reclaim your attention from everything else. There is no other scope of any mental chatter or anything else. And if you can do that on your own time later on, you'll find out in this state, there won't be any thoughts because you don't have any space for any thoughts. And the idea is this, that by using the MindGym exercises, we will train our attention to be in this state, which is a fully reclaimed state without thoughts, without having to do the hands and other things. So that is in a nutshell what we are trying to do here. And now what we will do is again share screen. So I decided on the fly that we'll do this the deck thing today. So I'm sorry about going back and forth a little bit. Okay, so now the first thing that we did was we got a little bit of flavor of what attention is. Now, the second thing is that the entity that actually actually shares the claim of attention for unproductive purposes are generally thoughts. Thoughts means I'm talking about mental chatter. So we will now try to see a little bit more experientially, what are these thoughts, right? Not the content of the thoughts, but the structure of the thoughts. So what we'll do is that we'll sit quietly for a minute, close your eyes, and let's observe the thoughts that are coming in the mind, right? And what I will request you to focus on is on the structure of thoughts. Means what do you mean when you say a thought? Is there a picture? Is there a sound? Is there something else associated with it? Let's just sit quietly for, let's say, 30 seconds now and observe the thoughts coming in. Okay. So anybody wants to share what is the structure they saw? Like, did you see a picture or a sound? Anybody wants to share their experience?
I'll go, Prithvi.
Yeah.
So 4 weeks back or 5 weeks back when we did this, I had a lot of thoughts. Now, the only thought that came in the 30 seconds was, of course, I had thought that I didn't have a thought. But then the other thing, other than that, the only thing that came was Shilpa missing from the list. Other than that, I had no thought.
So when you Shilpa missing from the list, did you see Shilpa's picture or you heard a sound? Shilpa is missing.
Only the picture, only her face.
Only face picture.
Yes, only the
you
face.
saw the face on this. Okay.
Just the face. That's it.
Yeah. Anyone else? So anyone else saw a picture or anybody actually did not see a picture but actually heard a sound? I would be interested because most of the people, picture is very common, right? But some people also see sound, hear sounds.
This is Leela. No,
Yeah.
I didn't see any pictures, just sounds only.
Okay.
Almost all about worries about my kids.
Okay. Sure. That is the commonest form. Yeah. So the intention here is in order for us, we know the first thing is that we have limited attention. Second thing is that the distractions or the thoughts actually take the available attention away from us. So what we want to do is first understand what is the structure of thoughts. And it is very easy because we have the lab right here. Right? We don't have to go to any psychiatrist or psychologist to figure that out. Yeah, they can probably analyze the content and the pattern that comes within that content, but the structure is available right here, right? So yes, exactly. What I'm hearing here is same as what we have compiled from our workshops. Is if I can get to it after. So thoughts is like a bundle of image and emotion. So in fact, if you had explored a little bit more, so the thought has either an image or a sound, mental sound, and a fraction of a second after that, almost imperceptible, but a little bit later, there is an emotion that is also associated with this thought, right? So you can see probably either a dark type of image or anything that is making you fearful, and with that associated, you'll get a feeling of fear or sadness, which will be like a heaviness, and how that actually emotion expresses is also very interesting because emotions express in your body through a pattern of sensations, right? So that pattern of sensation is what we actually correlate to an emotion. So if, for example, if your anger will be like flushed face, ears, throbbing of the heart. Happiness will be a light feeling, like almost a butterfly in the stomach, warmth in the heart. And then there are happy thoughts, which will give you a happy picture with that happy sensations. basically you'll have negative thoughts, will give you a negative picture, and anything that will evoke a situation where you can be fearful with negative emotions. So this is a key part of what we actually are going to, the trick that we are going to share with you. So the second piece of it is that when the thoughts and the sensations are related to each other, right? Again, this is this has been proven by neuroscience. So the thoughts actually trigger neurochemicals that go into our bloodstream and then actually start creating the pattern of sensations, and those pattern of sensations is what we call emotions. So here is another video that actually talks about how we can utilize the knowledge about the sensations to our advantage.
As you can tell, Tom is fuming. He's in rage. He doesn't think his mom is being fair at all. And most likely, he will yell back at her and make matters worse. But if he knew a little bit of mindfulness, he would notice his breath is short, his ears are turning red, his face is flushing, his chest is buzzing. And just by observing these sensations, a lot of them will dissolve and things will calm down. When you know how to respond instead of reacting, overcome by your emotions, things end up a lot better.
This, by the way, the kids never own up that they have done anything like this. But the parents come in and they say, yes, 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 they do exactly like this. So the sensations is a key thing, that the sensations play a big role, because what happens is that, again, we have 127 bits of attention, thoughts and emotions, right? They claim the share of our attention. So there's not much left to do anything good, right? So what we want to do is, after understanding this, go a little bit more deeper, deeper into the structure of our thoughts. So what we are saying is that we explored what is attention, right? By this exercise, we did that. What is attention? What is the nature of the thoughts we saw? The thoughts has a picture, sound, and emotion, right? And the third piece is that how does my attention interact with thought? So the interaction of the thought and attention is what we call thinking, right? And this picture actually shows the colored picture is, let's say, an individual me, and then a metaphorical a small me, which is my attention, right, which is in my head, and that attention is interacting with the thought, right? So now we will go and talk a little bit about that. So for a long time, I used to think that there is only one way of thinking. There's only one way of thinking, that people say, calm your thoughts, sit quietly. And then when you say that, okay, if you don't have thoughts, then you'll become a zombie, you'll go to the forest and all, right? But last 12 years, there have been a lot of research around thoughts, and especially in Yale. And they found out that there are two distinct, not one, there are two distinct ways in which we think. So first way is a focused attention, where you go from one structured thought to other thought, and you actually get to a solution. When you are doing a mathematical problem or physics problem or any other, making a PPT for to articulate some business solution or problem, those type of situations are actually basically activated by a task positive network. You are engaging your task positive network of your brain for this type of focused thinking. When you go from one, and So this is the type of thinking that we really want to pay our attention on. Basically, that 127 bits, we utilize all the 127 bits for this type of thinking. But not unfortunately, but in the reality, there is another network, and you can actually Google it up, default mode network. The default mode network is a network that is related to mental chatter. So essentially, the default mode network just serves thoughts from your past and future. I, me, myself. So it will actually give you some thoughts, and these are random thoughts. You have no control on it, and it comes and comes and goes. There are a lot of research articles on this right now. And the interesting piece is when the default mode network is active, it shuts down the task positive network. So your attention can only focus on one at a time. And this is the network that claims its share, that actually reduces the 127 bits of your capacity, right? And for some people, it actually takes the entire capacity. There is nothing left for anything else. So what we are going to learn here is trying to calm down or either shut down the default mode network. The experienced meditators are able to do that. There are again papers on it, but minimally being able to deal with it, the default mode network. Right. So what we can essentially do, if we can learn to deal with our default mode network, we are going to be less distracted. And less distracted is essentially what you see here in the screen, that I was trying to solve a problem and the distracting thought came in. I was trying to solve a problem, a distracting thought came in and took me somewhere else. And I ended up solving, if either I'm going round and round, or if at all I was solving something, I solved some wrong problem. And there's a trick that will help us to get past this distraction. And before I start on the trick, I will, and I forewarned you, right? This content is for kids, right? I want the parents to understand what the kids understand, and this and I'm happy to report that even 8-year-olds actually can understand the whole concept, right? And I'm hoping that the parents will be also. So we start off with, can everybody see me, right? So this is, so let's say this is we call our monkey mind. I'm calling it monkey attention, right? So this monkey attention is that person which has 127 bits of capacity, right? And this is the default mode network, DMN. So these are small demons. They're actually not demons. They are naughty thoughts that keep on coming, past, future, and they keep on popping randomly. My attention, one of the things, actually the most important thing my attention does, it actually likes to grab to the thoughts. So it actually, if something pops, it'll just grab to it. Then something else pops, it'll grab to that. And something else pops, it'll grab to that. So this is the pastime of my attention. So so in order to train my attention, what we do is that we do a clever trick. We introduce the concept of, and this is where the kids likes the most. I ask them, what is this? And everybody says, actually a lot of them unmute and say anchor. This is an anchor. So introduce this concept of an anchor. So what we do is that we ask our attention to grab onto the anchor. Now attention likes to grab to anything, so it actually grabs to the anchor. But now as soon as some other thought comes, it actually leaves the anchor and goes to the thoughts, right? So what we tell to the attention is, you know what, no problem, you went to the thought, no problem, go back to the anchor now. And it goes back to the anchor, and again it sees the thoughts, and again goes back to the thoughts. So we say, no problem, go back to the anchor. So doing this exercise 20 minutes in one sitting and 2 times a day, what my attention learns is the ability to letting go of everything. It actually lets go at will, right? It can let go. If it grabs, it lets go very fast, right? And that's where it reclaims the whole capacity it has. So that is a small illustration. And I will stop for 5. I'll basically open it up for quick questions before we go to a session which will be using breath as an anchor. One more thing I will say is that it is 35 minutes. I actually want to introduce the first MindGym, so to say, tool, which call it belly breathing. So I want everybody to sit quietly and take a deep breath. When you breathe in, your belly should go out, and you breathe out, your belly should go in. Just breathe normally. Breathe in, belly out. Breathe out, belly in. Keep your in-breath and out-breath as same length. So if you count to 5 while breathing in, count up to 5 to breathing out. So the belly breathing is the most natural form of breathing. You should be able to do this naturally with your eyes open. And you should be able to do belly breathing while you are doing all your daily activities, except when you're exercising. So if you're exercising or running or jogging or doing something physically strenuous, only then the nature has given us the capacity, actually the ability to breathe more through our chest, which is the lung breathing. Lung breathing is more tailored for fight and flight situations in the past when we were chased by tigers or lions, right? Now, so in order to just outrun them, we needed more oxygen. Yes, I understand nowadays when you're in treadmill, we need more oxygen. But whenever you do that, please be aware that it wires your brain, because the nature wants us to be really wired when we are in those type of situations. So, but what has happened here is our habitual breathing has become chest breathing for 80% of the adults. So if one trick that you can do to calm down your thoughts is just do as much belly breathing as possible. And for the remaining part of this session, please just pay attention to your breathing and just make sure that your belly grows out when you breathe in and belly goes in when you breathe out. Equal breathing in and out. Okay, so now while we are doing the belly breathing, I just am opening up for any questions about the puppet show before we go to the actual, the next topic. I hope it was clear. Okay, that's fine. So what we'll do is, now you've seen the puppet show. So most of the meditation technique are based on this concept, that it actually gives an anchor to our attention to come back to. There are many types of anchors. You can use, the most popular one is what is called as breath as an anchor, which was popularized by Buddha, the Anapana technique, which remains the most common technique across the world right now. There are other techniques which can use a sound, a phonetic as an anchor, which is like the mantra meditation, right? So we can have both the techniques, but I think people prefer the breath as an anchor as a more preferred one. So how about we do a 13 minutes session for the breath as an anchor, so that everyone can go through it collectively. If Purnima or Nisha, if one of you can put it in, please. Put in.
Purnima?
Welcome to the MindGym guided meditation. Let us start with first exploring what exactly are we trying to do before starting on the details about the meditation technique. We will try to build up the capacity to let go of thoughts by continuously bringing our attention back on an anchor. as the attention favors the anchor, it automatically practices letting go from distracting thoughts. There are many kinds of anchors that can be used in this technique. In MindGym, we will use breath as an anchor. Breath is the simplest and most used anchor, also taught by the Buddha. Breath is always with us. It's real, and bringing our attention to it brings us to the present moment. Let us perform a couple-minute prep before starting. You can sit cross-legged on a mat, or you can sit on a chair. Be aware of your bottoms before you start and balance your weight evenly. Try to keep your back as straight as possible, but not tense. Gently close your eyes. Before you start, think about an image that triggers a natural outpouring of love. Image of pets or kids when they were little is usually very effective. Think of a time when you were a small kid and you were taken care of. Try to experience the feeling of I'm taken care of and hence nothing to worry about. Relax and let go of the tension in the jaw, in the shoulders, and any other place in the body that feels tight. Now we will go into belly breathing, which increases our capacity of not getting distracted by thoughts. With longer practice, it may also reduce the number of thoughts generated in our mind. The technique is quite simple. Make sure your belly goes up when you breathe in, and it goes in when you breathe out. This is different from chest breathing, where the chest goes out and the belly goes in when we breathe in, and the chest goes in and belly out when we breathe out. Focus on the belly as you breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, belly out. Breathe out, belly in. Do it a few times. Now, put your attention on the sensations in your back, specifically around your spine. Move the attention from the bottom of the spine to your neck and back down. Now, synchronize this up and down movement with belly breathing. Move the attention up slowly as you breathe in, and move it down along the back as you breathe out. This will help further quiet our active mind. Let us repeat this a few times. up your spine slowly as you breathe in, and move it down along the back as you breathe out. Now that your mind has calmed down and the attention is starting to get focused, we will move into the meditation. Bring your attention to the breath. You don't need to breathe differently, just the normal belly breath. Watch when it enters the nostrils and comes out. Observe the warmth or the coldness. Watch the gap between the in and the out breath closely. Observe the sensations it creates below the nostrils and above the upper lip. We are using breath as an anchor in this technique. If your attention wanders into other thoughts, get it back to the breath whenever you become aware of the fact that you have wandered. We are trying to gently favor the breath. We don't want to judge ourselves or the thoughts that distracted us. We want to stay equanimous. If your attention does not wander, continue to watch the breath and the sensations it creates with more awareness. You may zone out or move into the gap between the breath and thoughts sometime during the practice. As soon as you realize you're in a zone, bring the attention back to the anchor. Keep your awareness on your breath. Be aware of your breath. Watch the warm breath in and out and the sensations it creates above the upper lip. Be aware of your breath. If your attention wanders into other thoughts, get it back to the breath whenever you realize. No need to judge the thoughts or the drifting away. We are practicing letting go of thoughts and coming back to the anchor. Continue to watch. Stay with the breath. the awareness of your breath. Watch the warm breath in and out, and the sensation it creates above the upper lip. Keep your awareness. Continue to watch. Stay with the breath.
Continue closing your eyes. Just stay there. Settle down. Whenever you are ready, you can slowly open your eyes. You should give the mind a little bit time to settle down after meditation. Typically, a minute should be good enough. Continue belly breathing. Then sit quietly. Just listen to what I'm saying. So so from the techniques perspective, we introduced belly breathing, the anchor technique, which is the one of the cornerstone technique of MindGym. And the concept about thoughts, two type of thoughts, and the thoughts creating sensations, and then being able to watch the sensations without getting attached to it. That is something that we will cover in one of the future in our next session, right? So what we try to do is we try to develop the ability of our attention of letting go the DMN type of default mode network type of thoughts. That is one prong. The second prong what we'll develop is our attention of letting go of the sensations that we perceive as emotions. So with these two techniques, right, we are well equipped to reclaim the 127 bits. So that is basically what, in a nutshell, what we teach at MindGym. But obviously we'll explore deeper dimensions in the next 3 weeks, right? So I'll open, I know we have 5 minutes, but I'm willing to stay for 5 more minutes after 11. And anybody has any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Prithvi, I just want to make sure everybody understands it right. So letting go of thoughts, coming to an anchor, and our anchor today is the belly breathing, right? We're going to, whenever we see thoughts arising, say we are doing a task and we see thoughts arising. So what we've learned today is letting go of the thoughts by focusing on the breathing, coming back to that as an anchor, letting go of the thought, and then continuing back with our work. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. But coming back to your, basically when we talk about the anchor is the sensations around the nose, right? And we are saying is and the underlying dynamics is belly breathing.
Does anyone have questions? Yeah.
Yes,
Nazmi.
hi, I have a question. So about the belly breathing, should we do something extra about the muscles of the belly, like push it like harder in and out? Actually,
No.
that helps me a little bit more to concentrate, but I don't know what. Should we do very natural or should we do something extra?
So Nazrin, it has to be, so when you are trying to do it for the most part of your waking period, it has to be natural. Yeah. But I know that initially, because we have been so much acclimatized to the thoracic breathing, that it may actually require a little bit of, as you say, focusing on the muscles. Anything that works, as long as you can, we can actually, when you breathe in, your belly is going out, and breathe out, belly is going in. It is fine, right? It should get effortless over time. So the point is that it should be effortless over time.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else has questions? Okay. So I just wanted to mention that Purnima had sent out an email with Dr. Devraj's phone addiction talk. That will happen in one of the future sessions. He had a schedule conflict. He's a doctor. Something came up and he wasn't able to make it today. We'll try to make that happen in the next few sessions. But we will talk about that, the phone distraction many times over the next few sessions, because that's a big thing right now. And I know some people are new, so this was new content for some, and it was kind of a refresher for others. It's like these are the tools and techniques, and just understanding the mechanics behind it, even over and over again, it gives you deeper insights. So hopefully it'll be helpful to you as well, those who are joining it for the second time.
Anisha, I also want to mention, we are thinking about it, but it's easy to say focus, it's easy to say get away from the phone. But as we discussed before, what really makes us go to the phone, we have to understand that is creating a flow. And I wish, in the future sessions, Prithvi or you.
Yeah, definitely. We'll touch on that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it is a DMN that is basically taking over when you're focusing on a task, and it's a mundane task. You are not able to stay in the present, and DMN takes over, and then you want to check the phone. And there are like scientific chemicals being, there's more knowledge that can be shared, and hopefully that will be done by our keynote speaker. And Prithvi will definitely talk about, how we can try to build this so that we don't get so much distracted by the phone. And
yeah, and I think the bottom line is quite simple, right? As I said in the beginning, and we are at the end of the hour there, that 80-year-olds can relate to this concept, that there are two types of thoughts. One is a distracting thought, other is a focused thought. Like we call it bad thinking and good thinking. We have to train our attention to do more good thinking, less of bad thinking. And the way we do it is by doing that puppet show technique. Right? Take an anchor, keep on getting back to the anchor, practice it 20 times in one session and 2 times a day. And the fact is this, that you are practicing those muscles to be able to do it outside the meditation, right? In your normal life. Like that is the impact where the impact will. So in your normal life, once you go to a gym, we exercise to build up strength, right? Obviously, we are not going to use the strength only in the gym. We are going to use it when we are outside the gym, right? And the other piece is that whole understanding this fact, the puppet show, the theory of it, is not going to, just like the way that if you understand that if I go to the gym and do some push-ups or weights, I'll go stronger. Just having that concept is not going to make you stronger. So similarly, just having this concept about how by letting go of thoughts will make your attention better is not going to help you in any ways, right? Except a little bit more, maybe intelligent, right? Knowing that fact, but it is not going to, your attention will still be the same. You have to do it 20 times, like 20 minutes. You start with 10 minutes, you can go up to 20 minutes, start with 1 time a day, go up to 2 times a day. And typically what it is said is that if you do it 20 minutes a day, once or twice, and do it for about 4 to 8 weeks, right, you'll see significant changes. So the folks who have been with us for the last 4 weeks have seen, actually they have already seen changes, if not significant, some of them significant. So within 4 weeks. So if you're interested, join us for our daily sessions, right? And then you have to see it for yourself. Okay, great. That's all we had. I think thanks a lot for joining.
Oh,
Any?
I thought Ambika had a question.
Yeah, I had a question. It's more or less answered. First of all, thank you, Anisha and Prithvi and Purnima. And I think Anisha answered it in part. Is that when you are doing some work and you're supposed to stay focused, like more for, I mean, you talked about 8-year-olds, but I think as 40 or 48-year-olds, we also have deadlines when you're multitasking, especially. And you tend to do, you're supposed to be doing something, and you do not something like probably taking your phone, but you are not exactly doing what you're supposed to do. Probably going, like in my case, if I'm supposed to research on something and I see something, and of course that DMN takes over, and I go to a page which is not exactly kind of, not exactly that, but you tell yourself, well, it's not the phone, right? So I'm looking at this, and you end up going, and the trail takes you to somewhere and you meander. So in that case also, we do the same thing. We go back to the anchor, or because I already know that this is not what I'm supposed to do. And now I'm kind of wasting my time and everything, all that wisdom is there, that fake wisdom. But how do I get rid? And I say, okay, now please cut the crap and go to, I mean, do I tell myself, do I go back to anchor?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Ambika. I think the key point there is that whether we are doing it consciously or we are doing it is subconsciously. Right? Most of the times what happens here is that in fact, this is exactly what the last cartoon that we had, right? In that it shows that, right? You're trying to solve this problem, and then this DMN comes and you're trying to solve some other problem. So the question here is, first step is whether all of it happened subconsciously or unconsciously, right? So typically people realize this when they're already in this track, to your point, right? I'm already in the wrong track. Now your question here is, how do I get back to this original track? So I'll say that there are two pieces to the puzzle. One thing is that you develop your muscles so that this going from here to here won't happen, right?
Okay.
In long term, it shouldn't happen. So once you start in this, you just go and finish it, and then you go to the next one, right? And now the second part of it is, now I've come here, now how should I go back from here to here? Just being aware of this fact is itself will do 50%, and then it is about your will also, right? Some part of time it is your will.
Right, yeah. Correct. Thank you.
So Ambika, yeah, I mean, it is more like keep practicing. So mind gymming will help you apply it in daily life. That is what it is. You can join our daily sessions, or you can use the YouTube channel meditations, or anything else that you would like to use, mantra or but keep doing it. Start with once a day, and if possible twice a day, and then you will see the change by yourself.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
But I also think that we need to learn the skill to develop more flow into what we are doing. Because if there is flow, right, the TMN takes over, DMN goes down. That is also...
Yeah.
So flow, I think we have to introduce the concept of flow. We'll do it next week. Let's
yeah,
do it.
That would be great. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a key point. That's what I've understood.
Yeah. Super. Great. So I think we are already 5 minutes, 6 minutes over 11. So thanks everyone. It was really good having you all over, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Bye.